Imagine this. You're about to make a big decision like choosing a new car. You've done your research, weighed the pros and cons, and you're feeling confident. But what you might not realize is that hidden biases are lurking beneath the surface, subtly influencing your choice. These biases, often operating unconsciously, can lead us astray, even when we think we are being completely rational. Bias is a systematic error in thinking that arises from our own experiences, beliefs, and preferences. It's not about being intentionally prejudiced, it's about the way our brains process information and make shortcuts. These shortcuts, while useful in many situations, can also lead to distorted perceptions and flawed judgments. The consequences of bias can be significant, affecting everything from our personal relationships to our professional success. For example, hiring managers influenced by unconscious bias might overlook qualified candidates, perpetuating inequalities in the workplace. Investors swayed by confirmation bias might make risky decisions, ignoring evidence that contradicts their preconceived notions. Understanding the different types of biases and how they operate is the first step towards mitigating their influence. By becoming aware of these hidden forces, we can start to make more objective and informed decisions, leading to better outcomes in all areas of our lives. Confirmation bias is one of the most pervasive and powerful cognitive biases we face. It's the tendency to seek out and favor information that confirms our existing beliefs, while ignoring or downplaying evidence that contradicts them. We're drawn to information that reinforces our worldview, creating an echo chamber of our own making. This bias can be particularly dangerous when it comes to making important decisions. For instance, imagine a doctor who's convinced a patient has a specific condition. Confirmation bias might lead the doctor to focus on symptoms that support their diagnosis, while overlooking other crucial information that points to a different illness altogether. The impact of confirmation bias extends far beyond the medical field. In politics, it can lead to polarization and gridlock as people cling to their own ideologies and dismiss opposing viewpoints. In business, it can stifle innovation and lead to missed opportunities as companies fail to consider alternatives that challenge their established practices. Recognizing confirmation bias in ourselves and others is essential for fostering open-mindedness and making sound judgments. Anchoring bias refers to our tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive, even if it's irrelevant or misleading. This initial information acts as an anchor that influences our subsequent judgments and decisions. Imagine you're negotiating the price of a used car. The seller starts by quoting a ridiculously high price. Even though you know it's inflated, that initial number acts as an anchor, influencing your perception of a fair price. You might end up paying more than you should because your judgment has been skewed by that initial anchor. Anchoring bias can have a profound impact on our choices, from the products we buy to the investments we make. It's especially prevalent in situations where we lack experience or knowledge, as we rely on that initial anchor to guide our decisions. By being aware of this bias, we can learn to question our assumptions and seek out a wider range of information before making up our minds. Section 4. Availability bias. Judging by what's easy to recall. Availability bias refers to our tendency to overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled, often because they are vivid, recent, or emotionally charged. We rely on information that's readily available in our minds, rather than considering the bigger picture. For instance, if you've recently watched a news report about a plane crash, you might be more inclined to overestimate the dangers of flying, even though statistically it's a very safe mode of transportation. The vividness of the news report makes it readily available in your memory, influencing your perception of risk. Availability bias can lead to distorted judgments and poor decision-making in various contexts. It can influence our investment choices, as we might be swayed by recent market fluctuations rather than long-term trends. It can also affect our personal relationships, as we might overreact to a single negative incident while overlooking countless positive interactions. Recognizing availability bias requires us to step back and consider the broader context rather than relying solely on what easily comes to mind. Section 5. Overcoming bias. A path to better decisions. While biases are a natural part of human cognition, we can take steps to mitigate their influence and make more objective decisions. The first step is acknowledging that we are all susceptible to bias, even when we believe we are being rational. Cultivating a mindset of humility and open-mindedness is crucial. Challenge your own assumptions and seek out diverse perspectives. Actively look for information that contradicts your beliefs, rather than seeking only confirmation. When making decisions, rely on data and evidence rather than gut feelings or intuition. Establish clear criteria for evaluation and seek input from others to challenge your own biases. Consider using structured decision-making frameworks to reduce the influence of subjective biases. Section 6. Conclusion: Embracing objectivity. Bias is an inherent part of the human experience, shaping our perceptions and influencing our choices. By understanding the different types of biases and their potential impact, we can begin to unravel their hold on our thinking. Cultivating awareness, seeking diverse perspectives, and relying on data-driven decision-making are essential steps towards mitigating bias and embracing objectivity. As we strive for greater objectivity, we pave the way for fairer judgment, sounder decisions, and a more just and equitable world. The journey towards unbiased thinking is an ongoing process, requiring constant vigilance and a willingness to challenge our own assumptions. By embracing this challenge, we unlock the power of rational thought and pave the way for a brighter future.